Hey everybody, Douglas Wheat here of the Gamers Closet, and wanted to talk about some different things today. I haven't done a live stream in a while, and I felt like I should. So, first thing I want to address is several people have commented that my uploading schedule has gotten a little spotty as of late. So, there's a really good, bad reason for that. So, in my normal day job, I was on a ladder and slipped on a ladder and fell 6 feet and hit a concrete floor. So middle of June, I sprained my right knee, my right wrist, my right elbow, and my right chest wall. So I could barely walk for a couple of weeks, and I was out of work for a good 3 weeks, uh, which I kind of had to backfill all of the content I'd already made to cover a lot of that, which I went through that pretty quickly. And so there was a week where there was nothing. There was a week where there was one playthrough, or not playthrough, but an unboxing. Um, I haven't had a review on how to play come out since since Stratego. Um, so I'm working on correcting that. And I'm playing catch up on a lot of stuff. So I do have more coming. I do have a lot of content that's coming out. I have a good uh, collection of Halloween stuff coming. And a few other odd projects that I'm working on, which a couple of them I'm going to talk about here. Um, so, uh, hi. Um, so yeah, I'm glad I'm up and running. I'm glad I'm okay. I'm just about fully recovered from that, so that way I can actually get back to doing the work that I enjoy. So, um, but I felt I needed to address that because I wasn't able to do post comments on there. I wasn't able to do a lot, so I've been trying to play catch up on that stuff. So there is some stuff coming. I do have several game requests coming that should air later this year. And like I said, I'm just trying to play catch up. So I'm doing a live stream, and so a couple things I wanted to talk about. First off, Facade Games has released Hollywood 1947. It's in the process of being mailed, and it should show up relatively soon. I know they had several shipping problems, and Asia, Europe was able to get it first. So there are a lot of people that you will see online that already have copies of it. But I've gotten emails from Travis Hancock, the head of Facade Games, and I've got a ETA I want to get it. So it should show up in about a week. If you're not familiar with Facade Games, they have a series of book games. When I say book games, they come in like a faux book box, so they can sit on your shelf really nicely and look like a library. But they contain small games inside, and they're really nice games. So they have Salem 1692, so it's a group party game where you're trying to figure out who are witches in the Salem witch trials. They've got Deadwood 1876, which is a old west style game with a gun shootout at the end. My personal favorite, which is Bristol 1350, where you have to get out of the town of Bristol. It's a racing game in apple carts because the bubonic plague is there, and you're trying to get out of town before the plague hits. But people in your party may have the plague, and you have to kick them out of your cart and try to get out of town without. But it's a great game. But the one I'm really looking forward to is Hollywood 1947. Hollywood 1947 is a game that it's a movie game. So you have patriot ideas and you have communist ideas trying to get put into movies in the 40s. So I do have a trailer for the game, which let me put it up here so that way.
Stars, where artists create and revolutionaries push the bounds of possibility. For years, they've dazzled us with their spine-tingling monsters, swoon-worthy romances, and gut-busting comedies. But is there evil lurking inside the very studios that brought you these masterpieces? Congress has been informed that communists may have infiltrated the very studios that you know and love. Messages that seek to undermine the very fabric of America are being slipped into movies right under our noses. Which of these Hollywood stars is more than they seem? Who wears a facade of patriotism, and who is out only for themselves? Corruption is on the rise. The heart and soul of America is at stake. Hollywood is in crisis. It's up to you to determine who is for us and who is against us.
So as you can see, it's a nicely well-built game, and I'm really looking forward to it. Plus, it comes with the I think it's the costume designer pack, so that way you can actually put costume items in there and make it a little more interesting. So I'm kind of curious of how that's going to work out. So, like I said, I want to see the way that's going to work, and I'm looking forward to playing it, or should I say inflicting it on my friends. So it should be a really nice time. So Facade Games is a game company that's based out of Ohio, and they're a husband and wife that started this game company, and all of their games are really interesting because they're all based on a time period in a town or a city, and it's their Dark City series. I do know that they're always interested in looking at expanding series on that, and I've never found one of their games uninteresting. They don't have standard game components per se. Like, for example, I think, Tortuga and Bristol. The game comes with a board, but it's a rolled up mouse pad material, so that way it fits in the box really easy. So you don't have to worry about cardboard pieces and everything. So it's nicely built, and I'm always interested in seeing different ways of constructing games. And I think they're high quality games, and I'm a fan. So I know I was on their the Hollywood 1947 Kickstarter, which I'm proud to say I got into that, and I'm really glad I did. So moving on. Next on our topic list are games that I've added to the closet. As you can see, I have this massive pile of board and card games behind me. But there are games that I'm consistently trying to add to the collection. I'm trying to consistently do more with. And so what have I added recently? So a couple things. First thing I picked up at Pacificon, which Pacificon, I'm going to do the information on that in a different video because I don't really have a whole lot, but there are some things I do want to show you, which I'm going to do that in a specialized video. But first thing I picked up was Raynar Knitz's Gravedigger. Gravedigger is a Twilight Creations game, and it is the same people that made Zombies, and so it's a kind of a I get to rob the dead game, and to see who has the best stuff. It kind of jumped out at me, and it was relatively cheap, so I thought, why not? So I'm looking forward to giving this one a try. Next, I picked up a game that I was really surprised to find, which I missed the Kickstarter on this a long time ago, which was the Resident Evil 2 board game, which surprisingly it came with a couple of expansions. So it's kind of like Wolfenstein, but it's the video game of Resident Evil 2. It has some really nice minis in it, especially all of the bigger creatures, the lickers. It has spiders. It's got a whole bunch of things. So I'm looking forward to giving this a play. It's something I've wanted to play for a long time. And then a game that I found, which has been on my bucket list of games I've been trying to find for the last 2 decades. which is A Line in the Sand. A Line in the Sand is a strategy-based war game, which is based off of Operation Desert Storm in 1991. So you have the U.S. coalition military versus the Iraqi army. And it has several scenarios. So you can deal with Syria, you can deal with Iran, you can deal with a whole bunch of things. It's a game that's really hard to find. TSR games are very well built. They've got some I would say they're almost equivalent to Avalon Hill games because they've got really long rule books, but they have multiple scenarios, so the replayability on it is super high, and they've got a lot of miniatures in it. So, and they've got this really neat fog of war aspect because you can't see one of the miniatures are one-sided and the other side is a flag, so you're not exactly sure what the miniatures is. So it has this nice fog of war. I'm not quite sure what's going on. So it creates an extra element to strategy games. TSR has made many games, including the Hunt for Red October board game, which has a scenario for the movie, and it has another 6 scenarios, which is NATO versus Soviet fleet combat in the 80s. And then they also have Red Storm Rising, which is the apocalyptic Third World War game of the Soviet Union versus NATO. Ground and everything. So, but they've got some really interesting games. Something I picked up today, surprisingly, I picked up Challenge Yahtzee. So, Yahtzee games I think are always interesting. They do different things, and this one's a LS Low game from the 70s, which I'm looking on actually creating a month of Yahtzee games with regular Yahtzee, Challenge Yahtzee, Showdown Yahtzee. There's so many different versions of Yahtzee out there, and they're all themed differently. So I'm looking forward to actually putting together an entire month of Yahtzee-based games and then comparing the differences on them. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's about it for what I've added to the closet recently. I'm in the process of trying to add more strategic-based games. There's a few games I'm still systematically looking for because I have a bucket list of games. I'm glad to say that A Line in the Sand is now off of my bucket list. But I'm really looking forward to trying to find some of those harder, more obscure games, and I'm looking forward to bringing them to the channel because nobody talks about it anymore. No one ever brings up TSR games, and they're fantastic games. And I just wish more people did. The downside is they're 2-player games most of the time, but I think 2-player games get an unfair rap, especially since more people they want to play the 4 and 5-player games. But a good 2-player game is a fun time. But like I said, no one ever brings them up because it's just a waste of their time in their game groups, which is sad. So I'm a fan of 2-player games. I think 2-player games, the straight head-to-head combat is a fantastic thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I like multiplayer games as well, but 2-player games, I like that one-on-one focus, so that way you can try to feel your opponent out and try to see what they're doing, and it's a nice time, and I think it's missed nowadays a lot because most games are pushing for 3, 4, 5 players, and then you have all those massive group games which are like 10 and 12 players. But I think 2 players don't get the credit they deserve. So the next thing I want to talk about is I have some gaming friends in my area that put on their own convention every year, and I wanted to plug their convention. So we have Board Game Extravaganza. Board Game Extravaganza is a convention that's put on by the USS Balthazar Star Trek fan club out of Modesto, California. And what they do is every year they put on a convention which it's presented by Modesto Comics. This year is on November 18th from 10 to 5 at the Modesto City Center Plaza. If you want to go and purchase tickets online, they're $5. They're $10 at the door, but you can sit there and play board games. They have charity auctions, a raffle fundraiser where you can enter to win brand new board games. All proceeds go to benefit the Boys and Girls Club of Stanislaus County. So it is a worthwhile mini convention in my local area that I can't say enough positive things about. And I'm looking forward to going this year. So we'll see what happens. But I felt this convention needed to be brought up and wanted to give them a little bit of PR. So if you're in the general area in Central California in mid-November, I would recommend dropping by. So it should be a fun time, and it helps out a very good cause. So cheers for the USS Balthazar group, and looking forward to seeing you there. So speaking on conventions, the next convention that's coming up relatively soon in our area is DunderCon 47. DunderCon 47 is a convention that is in Santa Clara, California. They take over a Marriott hotel, which is right down the street from 49er Levi Stadium and right down the street from Great America, the amusement park. So there's plenty of stuff around it. It's right off of 101 freeway, so it's right around the corner from the San Jose airport. So it's relatively easy to get to. The hotel has, I think it's about 60% filled right now. So there is still a chance to get into those special room blocks. They are $159 a night. And the rooms come with, I think you can get a king room or you can get a room with two queens. So, but the DunderCon convention is a convention that is been around for a long time. I'm going to bring up their page here. So DunderCon this next year is February 16th through the 19th. So it's right after Valentine's Day and is on President's Day weekend. So this is a convention that's been around for many, many years. The convention started off as a Dungeons and Dragons convention for tabletop role-playing, but it has picked up a following in just about every other game field you can think of. So it's got Dungeons and Dragons. It's still got tabletop games like Call of Cthulhu. It's got board games, card games. They have a flea market where people can get rid of their excess stuff that they want to get rid of. It has seminars where people come in and talk about how the game industry is doing, how to set up if you want to get into being a DM for a game and how to run a game, how to write characters and backstories. So there's always seminars to teach you how to do things. On top of that, there's a room for painting minis, so that way you can learn how to do figurine painting. It's got a kids room, a teen room, so that way the whole family can do just whatever it wants. And then even for the non-gamers, it has a swimming pool. It has events around it. It's got several shopping centers. So it's got something for everybody. So it takes over Friday through Monday on President's Day weekend, which I've gone for years. It's a convention that I've always enjoyed, and I think is a good way to experience new games. They have a game library, so you can actually check out games and try games. So you don't even have to purchase games. So you don't even have to bring anything, which is really nice. They have miniature rooms, so that way you can see massive battles of 10 millimeter, 16 millimeter figurines, military combat. There's a guy that every year would show up and play Avalon Hill's B-17 Queen of the Skies, where he has a Army Air Corps briefing before playing the game, and they take over this massive table, which is a interesting thing to see. and it's different every year. So if you haven't tried DunderCon before, I'd recommend giving it a try. This particular convention with Santa Clara and all the COVID requirements, they've relaxed those finally. So they're not going to card you for vaccination cards. They're not going to enforce you wearing masks. Now, if people they can still wear masks if they want, but they're not going to beat you down over the head if you don't want to wear them. Now, on the flip side of that, I do want to mention, if you're not feeling well, don't go to the convention. It's a lot of people in a small, compact area. So if you don't feel good, please don't go. But other than that, have a great time. Bring your family, bring friends. There are people that I see every year there. I've got basically, they're my convention friends. And I see them once a year during the convention. And I think it's a great time. If you do want to run a game, you can get into running games, which will help out the convention. So they are accepting game proposals. Now, if you do read the website, they are talking about how board and card games are no longer scheduled as official games. They've kind of reversed that policy after a little bit of feedback. But that being said, you want to make sure if you do want to run a game, make sure that it helps a lot of people. Don't try to run a 2-player game because nobody's going to have fun with that. Bring a bigger game. I'm personally bringing first edition Sheriff of Nottingham. It seats 5. I'm bringing Donner Dinner Party, which seats 10 comfortably. So if you have 5 people that have at least 3 hours of gaming experience, you can get a free membership into the convention. So you don't have to pay the door price. You still have to pay the hotel, but you don't have to pay the door price, which is more of a cost-effective way to do things. Now, if you don't want to have to run a game or something like that, then you can pay the door price. I think it's cheaper now. I wouldn't wait until the end of the year. And I know the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. But I do recommend running a game. I've done it for years, and I think it's a great way to teach people a game that you may have. Bring out something weird. I mean, I've brought out my 1986 Fireball Island several times, and people freak out because it's a game that no one sees very often. And I always get a full table with that. I got a full table with Sheriff of Nottingham. I've run many, many different games over the years. I think a couple of years I ran the Star Trek Klingon Challenge DVD board game, where I brought an old VCR and a TV and actually ran a VHS tape for the game, which it's always different. So I can't stress that enough. Let's see. A couple other things that I want to talk about. So there are several different YouTube channels that I do enjoy watching. And I think I do want to mention them on here because I think they do a quality job for the direction that they're going. And I just wanted to give them a little plug. So first off is Little Wars TV. Little Wars TV is a channel that goes over tabletop wargaming. They build massive games where they have, like, they're building the battlefield for Thermopylae, and they walk you through how to do it. They give you campaigns. They talk about painting. They have some very interestingly created games. They always go to Historicon back east, which has some fantastic games on it. And then they built a campaign for the Alamo, where they rebuilt the Alamo and did a campaign of the Mexican army versus the Alamo defenders, which I think was a fantastic game. So I can't say enough nice things about them. So if you haven't checked out Little Wars TV before, I would recommend giving it a look. Yeah, they're based on the East Coast, so they go to a lot of East Coast miniature conventions. But it's miniatures are something that I would love to get into, but I don't have the time, patience, or money to do it. So I appreciate what they do because it's something that I wish I could do, but I just don't have the time. So, the next channel that I do want to mention would be my friend Dan's channel. So, Dan is the gentleman that runs No Enemies Here. No Enemies Here is a channel that is basically wargaming news. So in this particular channel, he talks about what's going on in tabletop wargaming. He does looks at other channels, kind of like how I'm doing here, where he talks about game reviews. He goes through unboxing videos, anything related to wargaming, historical gaming, things of that nature. Dan's based out of Canada, so he is on the Eastern Standard Time Zone, which actually he should be putting out an episode here probably the next few hours. He generally drops out an episode every Saturday, so it should come out in the next few hours. So I'd recommend giving Dan a look for No Enemies Here and see what he's up to. Interesting guy. I've talked to him several times, and he has a very interesting point of view, especially on a lot of Avalon Hill board games, the old Avalon Hill General magazine, and a lot of the Compass and GMT games. So I would recommend giving No Enemies Here a look, which I do send stuff to him every so often. So then that way I can kind of add to his channel for his wargaming news. But I feel that I should give him a plug and see how everything's going. The next thing that I do want to mention is a project that I put together. The project I put together it's something that was created by a gentleman named Dominic J. Allen. Dominic Allen is he lives in London. I think he lives in London. He's English and nice guy. He's an actor and is part of a board gaming group. The game in question that he created, I got his permission to create my own copy of it. So I took his ideas and created my own copy. Now, I did a little bit of expanding on that copy to make it a little more crazy and interesting. I added some more pieces. I added more cards. I actually made cardstock cards, which he was using paper. And I kind of took it to a next level. Now, he then created another version of it, which added more stuff to the game. So that's version 3. So version 3 took those ideas and made it even go further. Now I've taken version 3 and created an expansion for the game to add 4 and 5 players, because I think his only did up to 3. No, his did 4. Yeah, his did 4, but I took it to 5. And then I added some additional things. I changed a few rules. I added more pieces. So I'm up to version 4 of it. Now, his version and my version are close, but there's enough additional things on each version to make them more interesting. So here's a teaser or a teaser trailer of what I created with Dominic Allen. And then I'll show you when we get done with the trailer, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Черный барон, снова готовят нам царский трон. Но от легитов британских морей Красная армия всех сильных, так пусть же красная знает нас, моя горсть и позор, и знает
So yeah, Communopoly. Communopoly is a game that was put together that I had play tested. I've had some people from the USS Balthazar play tested, which I just mentioned them in the for their board game extravaganza coming in November. And I also have play tested it at Pacificon to some very interesting effects, and I've also play tested it on my normal game group. So I've worked out a lot of the bugs, and so Communopoly is a game I'm very proud of. It's insane, and it's a game that if you've ever played Monopoly before, it's like the total opposite of Monopoly. Monopoly is designed to last for like 6 hours, 8 hours, play across the summer, irritate your family repeatedly. This game, the base game, won't last more than an hour. With the expansion and the extra stuff that I've added over the time, it pushes it to about 2 hours, but the more people you have in it, that then shortens back down. But, I mean, you have to deal with the Chernobyl power plant exploding. You have to deal with going to jail repeatedly. You have to deal with, if I roll doubles too many times, I go to jail. If I roll a 1 on any one of my die while I'm in jail, I disappear and become a new piece. So it's a game where you can systematically get killed. And everybody I've ever inflicted this game on has positive things to say about it. Granted, I've listened to feedback and fixed a lot of bugs, but I'm looking forward to it. So I finished the Khrushchev expansion for Stalin Communopoly, and I'm looking forward to inflicting this on people because it takes the game and makes it even crazier. I'm planning on later this year dropping out a live playthrough of Communopoly with my friends, just to see, you can see the insanity. Now, if you haven't seen the other videos online, I would recommend taking a look at No Rolls Barred. No Rolls Barred created the initial Communopoly, which the person that created it and the person that I've talked to several times, pictured here in the center, dressed as Stalin, is Dominic J. Allen. Dominic J. Allen is a very amazing creator and has done a lot of different games on their channel for No Rolls Barred. So if you haven't checked out No Rolls Barred, I would strongly recommend doing it. And you can see version 1 and version 3 of Communopoly, the ones that Dom put together, on this channel. So they have both of them on there. So No Rolls Barred, I think, is a fantastic gaming channel. Dom also, they played a episode of Horrified recently, which if you haven't seen Horrified, it's a game where you're dealing with Universal movie monsters. That one cracked me up. So it's a fun time. Let's see, we got a comment. I miss No Rolls Barred playing Worldwide Wrestling. Yeah, No Rolls Barred it's whenever Dom's on it, it cracks me up. But some of the episodes do get a little boring. It just they're English. I'm not knocking the English, but their humor is a little different. So, but I strongly recommend watching both Communopoly episodes because that's version 1 and version 3. I've got version 2 and version 4 here. So it's a fantastic watch. Let's see here. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't have a lot going on soon. Like I said, I'm planning on DunderCon. I'm looking forward to the board game extravaganza from the USS Balthazar in November. And I'm always opened up to questions. So if anyone wants to bring up a question or talk about anything, please go right ahead. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Inflicting Communopoly, and I've got a lot of projects coming later this year. I'm starting a new series called Solo Adventure, which Solo Adventure is actually playing through the games that have a single player variant to them. So I'm going to be playing those. So basically myself versus the board game and see how it plays out. Horrified's on that list. Bristol 1350's on that list. There's a lot of games that have come out in the last decade or so that have a single player variant, and those don't get covered a lot. So I'm starting an entire series to cover single player variants. I'm continuing on with my unboxing videos like I always do. Like I said, I've got Halloween themed games coming soon. I'm already started on building the schedule for next year, which again, the episodes I have run from March to December. That way I can take January and February off to kind of do any of the bigger projects, plus my DunderCon convention. And I'm always looking forward to putting together different kinds of projects. I'm continuing on my series on banned board games. I get a lot of odd comments on that series where I'll either get positive comments or I get people that start getting pushy because they don't understand why games got banned or by who or what authority banned them. A lot of them just got banned because no retailer wanted to sell them. So they just kind of went to the wayside and no one reprinted them. I don't have control of that. There's no committee I'm aware of that banned them. It's just people just stopped selling them due to public outcry. But I'm trying to add a lot more of those really weird games onto there. I got a little bit of flack for putting 2 Nazi propaganda games on there, which they're banned for a reason, but no one ever talks about them, and they're just really oddball games, and so I put them on there. I did get a lot of favorable feedback from the recent additional Monopoly banning game that I put up there where Fidel Castro ordered its destruction, which I thought was hilarious, so I had to include it on there. But yeah, so I'm continuing on my banned board game series. I'm consistently doing more playthroughs. I have an entire list of games that people have wanted or requested that I do, which I have that whole list. And I'm in the process of either getting those games to a table or in the process of trying to find them because I don't have all of them. Some of them are a little more obscure and a couple of them are pricey. So yeah, I'm working that problem out. People may have noticed in this last year that I've kind of monetized the channel a little bit more. I have ad revenue coming in, which all of that ad revenue goes back into the channel. I'm looking at buying some additional camera equipment. I did buy a couple of board games in the last year that were requested by people. So that way the ad revenue went towards something that people wanted. There are a couple other games that I'm looking forward to bringing to a table, like Scotland Yard, 13 Dead End Drive, which has a high following on the channel. And I'm really looking forward to being able to bring those to a table sometime soon. I think that the channel itself is doing really well. I just want to try to take it to that next level. I want to do some more compilations with people, I guess. That's not the right word, but I wanted to get involved with some other creators and sit down and bring some weird oddball game to the table. Maybe even inflict Communopoly on some other people. But I've got a lot of interesting things in the works. I'm in the process right now of trying to bring a couple new staff members on board to do more. I'm looking for an additional co-host to actually produce content and create additional content for the channel. So I'm looking forward to pushing the channel even further. I know right now we currently have, let's see, 1,200, almost 1,300 subscribers to the channel. Like I said, I'm looking forward to trying to double that within the next year. And I'm looking forward to doing some live stream in kind of this format, doing playthroughs on some of these crazier games. But that's all kind of, I'm working that out currently. Yeah, I don't have a lot else going on. And let's see. Don't really have any questions coming up. So, all right. I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Not much else. So, yeah, I kind of wanted just to talk a little bit, as I haven't done this in a while. I'm going to try to do some more live playthroughs in this format coming relatively soon. And I've got several projects in the works. Coming this next weekend, I've got a playthrough of the board game of Zathura, Adventure is Calling, which, if you remember Zathura, it's kind of like that Space Jumanji board game they made a movie of back in the 90s. So I've got a playthrough of that coming soon. I've got a playthrough of the board game or not a playthrough, but I've got an unboxing of Small Islands coming this upcoming weekend. So I recommend staying tuned for those. And I should have a lot more stuff coming out starting in the beginning of October, because that's when I'm really pushing for the Halloween themed material, and I've got a lot of stuff coming in there. I've got playthroughs of Milton the Monster. I've got playthroughs of Casper the Friendly Ghost from Milton Bradley. I've got the Funky Phantom being brought up. I'm doing unboxings of both Horrifieds, both second edition House on the Hill. I've got a lot of stuff coming, so I recommend staying tuned for that. As always, I'm very thankful for all of my subscribers tuning in, see what we're up to, and supporting the channel. If you do want to give back to the channel, all of our videos do have a super thanks now added to them. Any money raised on that will go directly into the channel to either bring additional content that has been requested, or will go towards trying to get new equipment, or more lighting, or something. So anything that you'd like to donate to the channel goes directly into the channel. I don't personally profit off of it in any way. It goes directly back into content. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I appreciate everyone for all of the support I've gotten over the years. And I do want to thank everyone for being part of my insanity. So until next time, everyone, have a great gaming day. And I will see you. I'm going to probably do another one of these probably beginning of October, so maybe a couple of weeks, and hopefully I should have some interesting content. I'm going to end on a commercial that I think is hilarious, and I do want to mention it. And until next time, everyone, have a great gaming day.
Here at Noble Knight Games, we've been carefully growing the world's largest selection of tabletop games going on 25 years now. From fresh-picked new releases to finely aged vintage classics and hard-to-find imports, you can buy, sell, trade, and play with us at our store in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Or shop online 24/7 from anywhere in the world, just like nature intended. Growing fresh daily at Noble Knight Games.